Hey everybody, welcome back to another installment of the Nerd Herder Show. I'm Nick.
I'm Rich.
And we are from the Over a Beer channel. And as we are from Over a Beer, we should mention today we are drinking again this week the Pump Kick from New Belgium.
Yep.
It's pumpkin beer, as you might imagine from the Pump Kick.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
Yeah.
Use whatever on it. That's fine. But anyway, moving on. Alright, so Stream It and Pitch It we have this week. Why don't we start off with Pitch It? I'm gonna pitch it to people who might have missed
Go ahead
the
and
first
pitch
episode.
it.
So Pitch It is a segment that we've created here. This is going to be the first time that it's actually enacted. Basically, one of us, a couple weeks ago, I gave Rich a name and a genre. And he had to create an entire storyline, create however he took it. It could he from the name he could make it a video game, he could make it a movie, he could make it a short story, he could make it whatever he wanted.
Develop something from
the name. And so I gave him Rip City.
No, you gave me Rapid City.
Rapid City, sorry.
So I said, don't go changing this now.
Yeah, it was Rip City. You screwed up. Rapid City, and I said a sci-fi musical, right?
Yes, you did.
Is that correct? And so you're going to tell me everything that you came up with, and I'm going to tell you whether or not I would, see or whatever it is that you came up with. So what did you come up with for Rapid City?
If you haven't figured it out already, the name, it's going to be a movie.
Okay.
It'll be a feature film called Rapid City.
Oh, good start.
And it's going to be a sci-fi musical. Now stick with me.
Oh.
A sci-fi musical.
Sold.
All right, we're done.
All right.
He bought it.
See you tomorrow, everyone.
But no, so Rapid City, sci-fi musical. The basic story, sci-fi, so it's going to take place in the future. It's taking place in a time where we've kind of hit a point where man and machine has become one, in a sense, where machines are really kind of controlling what we do.
Okay.
They're running everything. It's rapid in the sense that everything's constantly moving. Like we've sort of lost, sleep cycle, the necessity to eat, things like that, because we're at this point fused with machines. However, there's a small a rip, a problem, if you will.
So it is Rip City.
It is Rip City. It's Rip City now. Midway through, the title card comes up and says that's actually Rapids is crossed out. It says Rip.
Okay.
One of the humans kind of regains his consciousness.
Okay.
And realizes that they've lost their humanity, and among this discovers sort of an underground collective of people who have also regained their humanity, who have had their humanity, similar to the Matrix in some ways, if you haven't already picked up on that. But as opposed to, Matrix is very like the machines are kind of controlling everything, and the humans are still very much involved in it, and there are sort of a group of kind of immortal humans who've sort of constantly upgraded themselves and changed themselves based on the technology to run Rapid City, run the area, kind of the bosses of Rapid City, if you will.
Okay.
So directing this,
all right,
I have David Fincher.
Always a good choice.
Always a good choice. Now, you said it was a musical. It's going to be a musical in a little bit different of a sense. Now, because these humans have had this meld with technology, and they don't really have a need to communicate in the same sense that anybody else would, that we would, they can't speak. So all of the music is told kind of as, they're not actually singing it, it's just the music that's playing against the movie. To do that, to make that music, we have Trent Reznor.
Okay.
He's collaborated a lot with Fincher. I think they
Gone Girl, Social Network, Girl with Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah. But it's a little different in the sense that there will actually be lyrics and stuff for it. So instead of having the characters break out in song, the lyrics that are sung are reflecting the emotion.
Cool. Like it.
So we have him doing the lyrics specifically for the main protagonist. And for the female lead, we're going to bring in Karen O.
Okay.
I kind of went back and forth on who I want to do the female vocals.
They also work together.
Yes, they work together for the Immigrant Song cover for Dragon Tattoo. That's kind of why the alternate with her. One of the other choices I had in mind, I'm blanking on her last name, but the lead singer of Nico Vega, if you've ever heard of them. was kind of also in the running. But ultimately, yeah, Karen O and Trent Reznor have worked together before, along with David Fincher. It just felt kind of like a good fit for that.
She's done other movies.
She's done other movies.
Wild Things Are.
She's got that same kind, if you ever listen to Yeah Yeah Yeahs, she's got that same kind of raw energy that Trent Reznor often brings to like Nine Inch Nails and things like that.
Sure.
Now, for a writer, I've got three possible choices here.
Okay.
Because, as it happens in Hollywood, your first choice is never necessarily the one that it goes on. Duncan Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He's had a hand in sci-fi quite a bit. Moon and Source Code.
Might need something like this if Warcraft bombs.
Yeah. So, I was kind of torn on whether or not I wanted to bring him in or not. Have him, as the writer or not, because most of the sci-fi stuff he's done has been on a smaller scale, but he is doing the Warcraft film. Ryan Johnson. This obviously would be a kind of a big scale project, and he's working on Star Wars now, which is a big scale project. So I can easily see him being a big fit in that. For a male lead, I'm still not sure.
Okay.
So let me pitch you a few names.
All right.
See what you think. I've got Tom Hiddleston.
Okay. So I'm like the studio head. Right
You're the
now.
studio head. I'm pitching you this. You're telling me whether or not you're going to make this movie. Tom Hiddleston.
Okay. Loki, of course, famously.
Loki also did Only Lovers Left Alive. So he has that, charisma, but he's also got kind of that softer side, that kind of beaten down, darker side. He's also going to be in Crimson Peak coming up as well. Paul Dano, I thought would be kind of an interesting.
Of course, There Will Be
Cast
Blood.
just- yeah.
Little Miss Sunshine.
Ruby Sparks, Love and Mercy.
Sure.
He's got quite a bit of range on his stuff. Chris Evans, also of Marvel. Captain America, he was in Snowpiercer, which is kind of the big reason I was kind of going with him. He's got that... did you see Snowpiercer?
Mm-hmm.
He's got that kind of, just beaten down, rebel look to... He can have that style to him. Can do really well with kind of the facial expressions, which if these people can't talk, that's something that's definitely necessary. Same thing with Tom Hiddleston. My other choice, Ryan Gosling, who, Drive and Only God Forgives was so little dialogue, and it's all came from his face and his acting performance. But also kind of has that charisma to be a likable lead.
Yeah.
Female leads, I have two. Now, in the story that we have here, one of them, like I said, breaks kind of, regains his consciousness, can't speak, discovers this group of rebels where he meets the female lead, whether or not it's...
Do they speak?
There might be some speaking at the end.
Okay. Spoiler.
Spoiler alert. There may be some dialogue. There are other characters in here that I'm going to get to in a minute do speak.
Okay.
Because in this group of rebels, not all of them have gotten to the point that they are now. They've sort of managed to avoid being roboticized, as you will, to the point where they have no will. They're still very human. So for female leads, I've got either Rooney Mara, who also is a collaborator with...
Right.
Not a collaborator, but she's...
Two-time worked with Fincher.
Yeah. And Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who I don't think we see enough in films. I think she's a really good actress.
She's on TV.
She's on TV a lot now. I like to see her do... She's been one of those that I don't know if there's been a lot of directors who've really figured out a way to use her right.
Yeah.
So she's one that I would definitely put in there. Now the leader of this rebel group is a much older, wiser man, one who, the newly awakened lead to explain to him, this is where humanity has gone and how it's changed. Werner Herzog. Because who better to have long monologues than Werner Herzog?
Yeah, of course. People know him as a director. He has acted, of course.
Yeah.
It's a good choice.
I can't read this last one. So, villains of the crime lord, the ruler, the godfather of the city, if you will. I've got two here. I have three here, but I can't read my last one. First one's Bryan Cranston. he's got that range of side. I imagine the villain of this to be kind of a very just loud and boisterous kind of person. And Cranston's proved more than once that he can have that anger and that loudness to him. And DiCaprio, who again has that same range from Django Unchained and Wolf of Wall Street, where he just loses his shit. And,
I think one of those actors maybe that's best in a role like that.
Yeah. So as this film goes on, they make their they meet and try to kind of awaken people and eventually make their way up to the crown ones. And as it goes on, they may or may not. In the story of this, I hadn't decided whether they were eventually going to learn to talk. But as it is a musical, again, this all hinges on mostly Reznor and Karen O's music and stuff behind the scenes. Thoughts? Questions?
Okay, well, as for the two actors, I think that I would go with Rooney Mara. I think she has, first of all, I think she's a great actress. Not that I don't think Winston is, but I think that her and Fincher have a thing going for them. And I think that would be appropriate. As for the actors, it's interesting. You gave me Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Tom Hiddleston, and Paul Dano. I think that Fincher has a certain type of actor that he goes for. I think he goes for big A-list names.
Yeah. Well,
always.
If I had anybody, it would have been like Brad Pitt from Seven. Like that's kind of where I was.
Interesting. If just speaking as somebody who would want to see this movie, Brad Pitt, I think, is always more interesting when he's a supporting actor.
Yeah.
Always. 100% of the time. Go back and look at it. 12 Monkeys, Fight Club, even Burn After Reading.
Yeah.
He's always better when he's in a supporting role. So seeing him as maybe like the villain would be interesting.
Yeah.
Because he's worked with Fincher
That's true.
many times. But anyway, I think that Ryan Gosling would be a really interesting choice. He's an actor. I think that he was here. He was at an apex a few years ago. Something happened, he never went over it. He sort of missed his window. I think he, whatever it was, we had a couple, what's the movie we were talking about the other day, the mafia movie?
Oh, Gangster Squad.
Gangster Squad, that was a bomb, a fluke. Only God Forgives, for a lot of people didn't capitalize on Drive. Whatever it was, he didn't get there. So I think the Fincher would be somebody who would want to get him over that hump. I think he's a little bit interested in casting actors who are misunderstood. A lot of his stuff with Brad Pitt was right at the height of the Brad Pitt thing. Ben Affleck is still, when he cast him in Gone Girl, was still like, people didn't view him how they should have, even after Argo. And still he's sort of dealing with that, right, leading up to Batman. But he does that. He casts actors that way. So I could see him casting Ryan Gosling, kind of turning that around. Even he's been in the tabloids a lot lately with stuff with Eva Mendes.
Yeah.
So he'd be an interesting choice, like you said. It's going to be a lot of expression. He did a lot of that working with Refn. So that's an interesting choice. I would totally see. Who wouldn't want to see Fincher visuals applied to science fiction again, with more creative control than he had on Alien 3?
Yeah.
Right? With Trent Reznor, a sci-fi musical of sorts, with music by Trent Reznor and Karen O. With that cast, the plot would almost be secondary, right? But it sounds like the Matrix meets,
you almost have a Nine Inch Nails video directed by Fincher on a grand scale with a plot.
Yeah. Count me in. I would definitely watch that movie.
Cool.
Sweet. So that's Rapid City.
Yeah, Rapid City.
Let us know if you want to see Rapid City. Want to see some fan art.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be really cool. So that was fun. Do you have a title and a genre for
me? I do.
So in a few weeks, after he tells me what it is, I'll come back, I'll pitch mine, and we'll keep this going. So what do you got?
Now, this is October. So your genre is going to be horror.
Okay. Sure.
And your title, Steam.
Steam. Okay. Horror movie named Steam. So I'll be back. I'll pitch that movie in a few weeks. Stay tuned for that. See what it is. See what I come up with. Sweet. So we have another segment here.
Yep.
Stream It. This is one that we do weekly if you're just now catching on. Stream It. Each week we're going to give each other a movie on or something on Netflix for the other to watch. There's obviously lots of streaming options out there. We might vary from it eventually down the path. We'll see. But for now, we're sticking with Netflix because that's the one that most people have. But last week, we each gave each other something. And we're going to talk briefly about what we thought about each other's things.
Sure.
So, you want me to go first? You just talked a lot.
Sure, you can go first.
All right. So, I saw The Devil.
Yeah, you did.
You gave me I Saw the Devil, which is a movie by Kim Ji-woon.
Yep.
Who is also known for directing...
He did Good, Bad, and Weird, Tale of Two
Bad,
Sisters, the Schwarzenegger one, Last Stand from a couple years ago.
Yeah, so 2 weeks ago you gave me The House of the Devil.
Yeah.
You gave me I Saw the Devil, and I kind of said, like, oh, you're going to give me these devil movies. And this movie is a Korean film.
Yep.
Psychological horror, almost. Here's the thing. So, I was watching this movie last night, and it's a 2.5 hour Korean movie. Lengthy. Started it kind of late, and I tried so hard. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Because you were tired or because you didn't like the movie?
I was sort of into it. It's interesting. I made it like an hour and a half into it. I'm gonna finish the movie. I know, and you're gonna hate me.
We're 2 weeks into this Stream It thing, and you're already.
Hey, that's gonna happen though. That's part of it, you know. That's part of you gave me. It's not that I wasn't. It's funny. Last week we brought up a movie that I don't like. When we were talking about F. Gary Gray, Law-Abiding Citizen, and I wouldn't say that this is you have to think. I don't know how the release dates worked out, but you have to think that F. Gary Gray or whoever wrote Law-Abiding Citizen had seen this movie because it's a lot of it's a cat and mouse game, right, between two people, and in that movie. The Law-Abiding Citizen, which people might have seen because it was kind of a popular movie. Gerard Butler does some fucked up shit. He's understood, but he tortures people in weird ways. And in this movie, it is like a cat and mouse psychological movie, but with some stuff in there that I wasn't expecting. I'd seen The Good, Bad, and the Weird. I'm not. I know that the Korean cinema, especially a few years ago, was really at a peak. Yeah. Especially because of filmmakers like him, the guy who did The Host, right? That's all Korean. There's another popular one. Yeah. It was like a big movement of Korean cinema, and so I had no idea what to get in. But tell me why you like. I'm assuming that you love this movie.
I fucking love this movie.
Okay, so explain why. What was not grabbing me about it that I'm missing?
I don't know what wasn't grabbing. I mean. You're right, it's a 2.5 hour cat and mouse game, but in the same way that I like Fury Road, once it goes, it just doesn't let up. I mean, the choreography, all that kind of stuff is just so on point and so great, and the performances were great, but once, the plot kind of gets, after that first half hour, once the plot, or once the cat and mouse game actually starts, if you guys don't know, essentially,
should have said about that.
Yeah, the plot is he's kind of FBI, like a Korean special forces equivalent to FBI. His fiancée is murdered, right? It's his fiancée. So the whole movie is him, trying to hunt down the serial killer, and the back and the cat and mouse game between the two of them. I mean, it's mean, it's relentless, once it slams the pedal down, it does not stop.
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely caught off guard by some of it. I mean...
Did you get to the cab? That scene where they're in the taxi cab? Oh my god.
Yeah.
There's this great...
I'm going to finish it. I'm not one to start movies and not finish them. But I just, I couldn't, and then I was... It was just... I don't know. It was long, and it's not even. I mean, some of my favorite movies are long, but it was just like, I guess I didn't feel that magnitude of speed propelling the plot forward that you're explaining. Maybe it's after a whole viewing you realize like, oh man, that just.
This was one of those, like, I recommended to it, and I'm like, I really want to go watch this again. I didn't have time. It's a 2.5 hour movie. I didn't have time to go watch it again.
Sure.
This past week, but I'm like, I really want to see this again.
Mm-hmm.
It has been a little bit while since I've watched it. I remember like it played over at Enzian, and I saw it twice in the theater, and was like, this is just fucking great.
All right, so I'm going to resaw the devil.
Okay. So now, am I allowed to give you another movie then?
Yeah, give me another movie.
Okay.
That's fine.
Now I'm trying two.
Okay.
I had two planned. But let's, you made a comment last week that I'm doing all this devil stuff.
Okay.
So let's
got another one.
Kind of, yeah. I'm gonna have you watch the Lars von Trier film Antichrist.
Okay.
Should be a fun one for you. I'll be curious to see what you think of that. I actually, I say that like, good luck, but I like the film as much as you can like that film. So I'm very curious to see what you think about it.
All right. Very cool. So, Lars von Trier, pretty much across the board unfamiliar with his work.
Okay.
Haven't seen maybe anything from him. I obviously know of him. So, all right, Antichrist streaming on Netflix.
Yep.
So
as of this moment.
You watch that this week. I'll come back and I'll talk about that. Maybe I'll finish. I saw the devil, and I'll do a recap of what I thought of that as well.
Okay.
But this past week I gave you a movie to tie into the new movie Steve Jobs, of course, directed by Danny Boyle. Not his first movie, but a movie that put him on his map was Trainspotting, and that's what I gave you this week. So what did you think?
I liked it.
Okay.
I wasn't blown away by it. Over the years, there's been a ton of hype for it. Everyone. It's one of those.
It's like that, Clerks, and Pulp Fiction are like constantly pointed to as the movies that kind of started the indie movement, put Miramax on the map, stuff like that.
I think it's really good. I think Ewan McGregor's great. I was kind of in a similar position as you were. I started, I hadn't had a lot of time this past week. I started it late last night. I think I dozed off at one point, but rewound it to catch up and stuff. But it's good, I wasn't blown away by it. So I'm curious to kind of hear your thoughts on it. It's like, same thing with SNL, like what I'm missing about it. It's one of those, like, I kind of get it. Like, I get why it sort of looked to, but it just didn't have the same impact on me as it seemed to have a lot of people. And like, just because I've had it hyped up so much, and they're like, you've never, same thing as you last week. Oh, you've never seen Trainspotting? You've got to go see Trainspotting. Why didn't you go see Trainspotting? Like, it's just kind of built up on this pedestal that just, I don't know if it could have actually matched.
Yeah, well, what I'll start by saying is my whole, and probably you've heard it from other people, my whole you haven't seen Trainspotting was less because I felt like you needed to see Trainspotting, and more because I felt like people of our age who love film, it's a movie that is regarded in a way. Yeah. But I'm actually right there with you, and I was interested to see what you would think about it. It's a movie that I've given many opportunities to, a handful, maybe 5 tries. And while I do, I like the movie, I enjoy it as much as you could enjoy a movie about its content.
Yeah.
I don't love it. And I almost to the point where I constantly find myself wondering how it became the cultural touch point that it is. I'd obviously, I've read a lot of books about that start of the new wave of Hollywood that started, with Tarantino or whatever, with the indie movement, and that's always a movie that's pointed to. And I didn't see it until, I read a bunch of books about it, and then I saw the movie, and I was like, this Danny Boyle guy, I don't get it. Like, what am I missing about this movie? And then I saw, I think his movie immediately following that, or close to it, was The Beach with DiCaprio, and then that was another movie. I was like, what is the hype about this Boyle guy? It wasn't until I saw Sunshine that I truly saw a Danny Boyle movie that I loved. And he's done some interesting work in the past. We'll see how Steve Jobs is. But Trainspotting, yes, it has some iconic characters. Ewan McGregor is very good in that.
Yeah.
Robert Carlyle was very good in the movie.
I mean, the whole like the cast across the board is great.
It's a well-made movie. It's just it maybe it's because I've never done like heroin or anything like that. I don't connect to it in a way that maybe people did, and I think it is very much. We were talking about Back to the Future in our one of our previous segments this week is a timeless movie. I think that Trainspotting in some ways is a movie of its time. It's very tied into, I think, that early '90s, grunge rock, and all of that type of stuff. And it's interesting, Danny Boyle's been making the press for his new movie, Steve Jobs Again, and he's saying that his next movie will finally be the sequel to Trainspotting. And it's like, who's asking for it?
Who's asking for it? I watched it, and the whole time I'm thinking they're talking about doing a sequel for this. I'm like, why? Like, this is a film that doesn't need a sequel. Like, it ends perfectly well.
Yeah, I don't know. One of the most famous scenes from that movie is with the baby. What did you think of that on the ceiling?
Trippy, but
trippy,
I mean,
it is one of the.
Go there. They have
people always say that's one of the best examples of a drug, like a bad drug experience, right? But I mean, I've never had.
Yeah, like
I've never had a good drug experience or a bad one, so I don't know. But I mean, honestly, what do you think it is about that movie? To this day, we both work on a college campus. No longer go to school, but even at the start of each semester, there's those guys that sell all the posters in the student union. That's still to this day one of those movies that how?
I feel like if it was one of those movies that if you were there in that time and saw it then, yes, you were like, wow. Again, like you said, it's that grunge, just here's indie cinema, here's this, here's that, just in your face. And if you were there and when it came out and you saw it, and you'd be like, oh wow, I could see that being impactful, but now I don't see, like you said, we don't go to school anymore. The incoming freshmen are born after this movie came out. I don't know if it has that kind of impact on them unless you're into heroin, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, so it's, I wanted to see, as another person that loves cinema, if you would connect to the movie more than I did. It sounds like we're kind of on the same page with it. Does it make you think any differently at all about Danny Boyle's career? Or?
Not really. I haven't seen a whole lot of his films, so I would, I've never seen Sunshine. I'd definitely be interested in going back to Sunshine. Yeah.
Keeping that one stacked up here for the future.
But no, I mean, it seems like a director started off kind of doing the indie stuff and made his way into mainstream. It doesn't.
Cool. So that was our streamings from last week.
Yeah.
And again, you gave me Antichrist, so it's my turn to give you something. I'm going to give you something a little bit different.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a TV show, and because it's a TV show, I'm not going to give you an entire season. That wouldn't be fair. But I want you to watch 2 episodes.
Okay.
The first 2 episodes. It's a show that you don't watch. It's a show that just came back a couple weeks ago, and it's a good one. It's one that I think that our viewers, probably a lot of them like. And it just hit Netflix. I want you to watch the first 2 episodes of Flash.
Okay.
You've never seen the show, right?
I've never seen the show.
Okay.
I've never seen any of the...
Season 1 of Flash, they're on Season 2 now. Season 1 hit CW last fall. Season 2 is by this time, 2 episodes into it. Just watch it.
Okay.
I know that we have slightly different opinions on the Daredevil Netflix show. I thought it was really good. You thought it was just okay, right?
No, I don't think it's just okay. I think it's really good. I think some of it gets repetitive. I think that's my biggest issue with it.
I think it'll be interesting to see what you think of The Flash. I think The Flash is... I want to know, first, if it hooks you, if you continue watching, and then after you watch it, maybe, depending on what you think, if you think that we still need a Flash movie, which is coming as well. So we'll see what you think.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, the Flash movie is supposed to have a totally different Flash and all that stuff.
Right, Ezra Miller is going to be the Flash. And
that's right.
Same character, same Barry Allen, blah, 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 blah. So, watch a couple episodes of Flash.
Okay.
Maybe 2, 40 minutes, maybe 3.
How many episodes are in the season? Is it like a 20-some episode, or is it 13?
20.
Okay.
Yeah, so you probably won't watch the whole thing. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll love it. We'll see. But it'll be interesting to see what you think of it. Because I'm assuming like myself,
Mhm.
when I used to think of the CW, I would never watch anything. Like I would just be like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ever watch anything on the network. And now with Arrow and Flash and some other stuff, it's definitely much more up my alley. So interesting to see what you think of that.
All right. Check
so
it
we'll
out.
be back in a week to talk about Antichrist and Flash.
Yep.
I hope you enjoyed all this week's episodes, right? And until next time, thanks for watching.
Yeah, like this video,
Oh, yeah,
share it with
yeah,
your friends,
yeah.
subscribe to the channel. And if there's something that you think we should stream, let us know. If you watched Trainspotting this week and you watched Ask the Devil this week, let us know what you thought. And of course, we'll take requests if there's something that is very strongly encouraged from you guys. It's like, hey, you guys should stream this or watch this. We'll take that. We'll definitely put it on the show and talk about it. But yeah.
Again, please like us, subscribe to us.
Okay.
Okay.
Subscribe to the channel.
And if you like the show, let your friends know.
Yeah.
Right?
You can find me on Twitter at Rich Bellson. You can find Nick
at Stonks.
You can find the Over the Beer channel on Twitter at OABeer_official, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/overabeer. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week.
Yeah, definitely. That'll be a good week. All right.
See you next time.
Later.